There we go.
Okay, if there's not, I mean, got anything immediate or needs to jump out real quick, I'll throw the agenda up on the screen and see where we're gonna go. There we go. So we'll touch a little bit on Hamvention, make sure we're all up to date on that. I did some updates to the website in the past few days. I see Steve's on the call today. Maybe we'll touch on the time of flight experiment a little bit. I just want to make sure we've got what we need for the booth props we talked about last week. I think looking at pictures from last year, I think I figured that out, but I want to double check since I've never been there before. And then I think we'll probably spend most of our time today talking about our public relations type topics, some of our social media things and some other stuff that a few others have been working on. So is there anything, anybody want to add anything to the agenda?
I think that's good for me for now. There's just been so much going on, but so I think this looks good.
Okay, let's flip right over to the Hamvention link on the Hamside site. I obviously filled in the details on the booth since we know now where the booth is going to be at. The presentations chart hasn't changed at all. That's pretty static. The booth talks is something I added in since last week. Just heard from Neil Rapp earlier today, and we've got an idea on Friday. We've got a couple of Hamside slots to fill in between satellite folks, and then a couple of slots to fill on Saturday morning as well. And I, of course, copied the map from last year for the booth location, so nothing too exciting there.
Great.
So how do we go about filling in the slots on the booth talks? I realize we've got a whole month to go yet, so we got some time.
Yeah, well, one of the things I want to do, I want to get I'm trying to figure out which of my students are going. And then I like to pay for my students using the grant money. But in order to pay for them using the grant money, I usually have to make them give some sort of a talk to justify them going. So I'm going to try to get some students to give presentations in those slots. I'd also would be happy to have other people on the call also volunteer to give presentations if they'd like to. And so we could get a list of people who are interested, and then we can figure out how to divvy it up.
All right, sounds good. So yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, people on the call, if there's something you'd like to speak about, you've got roughly an hour. Obviously, you don't have to fill the whole hour.
Yeah,
20
I
minutes.
mean, an hour. Yeah, an hour is a long time for a booth. So I mean, I would encourage shorter talks for the booth talks. 20 minutes to a half hour. Or like 15 minutes plus questions. So I'd encourage shorter talks here. And then the other nice thing about that is, let's say we did get a lot of people, more people who wanted to give talks, we could split up some of the time so there could be more people who give shorter talks.
Good. Makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Is there anyone on the call who wants to, who's interested?
Well, I was going to mention that I'll be there, and depending upon the timing, might be able to do some booth duty.
Okay, why don't we put down a few possible names? So we could put down David McGaw then.
Okay, David's in my notes. These are the booth talks, David, not just the attendance, but the booth talks.
Yep.
Right.
Well, I'm planning to bring our receiver as a show and tell, so I can talk about that.
Okay, so that would be similar to the table you had at the Scranton workshop, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Jonathan Rizzo is thinking about coming, so he might do one.
Okay.
Let's see. Gerard Piccini he might do one. Yeah, I haven't quite gotten all my students figured out here. I really have to talk to the Scranton administration here about changing their semester schedule, because the final exam always happens during Hamvention in the spring semester, and then in the fall semester, the final exam schedule always falls during American Geophysical Union meeting. And so it's really awful trying to get students to go to these things. And to make matters worse, it's not just finals, but then graduation is also the Sunday of Hamvention now. So like it used to be that graduation was a week after. So if you got the students to at least get their finals moved around, you know, see people who are seniors could still potentially go. But now if I want seniors to go, like I'm seeing if I can get some seniors to go, I'd have to have them, you know, I'd have them come out on Wednesday and then go to CTU on Thursday, Hamvention on Friday, and they'd have to drive back Saturday to make it back in time to go to graduation. So because we don't want them to miss graduation, but that's what we're trying to figure out right now.
Yeah, that's a tough one too, because parents, if they're from out of town, parents come into town on Saturday and that sort of thing, obviously, so.
Yeah, so it's not it. I think if we didn't have those two conflicts, it would be way easier for me to get students from Scranton to go. But you know, there are also students from Case Western, and so I think for now we can just start taking some names of people who are interested in booth talks, and then we just try to. I say, you know, as long as I don't think we'll have. I would think we could probably accommodate everyone who wants to give a booth talk, even if we have to like split session down to like, you know, couple, you know, 30-minute slots, or, you know, 3 20-minute slots or something like that. I think there's ways that we could get everyone in who wants to give something.
Okay, I was thinking about building up a WISP for an FST 4W station on a piece of plywood, I guess I'd call it. And I was thinking about doing something like that, so that's an option too.
Yeah, and I mean, these booth talks are nice because they're like, you know, they're a lot more low profile. So like the Hamsci forum and Tapper forum and all those forums, they're like really advertised on the main Hamvention website. So you really want to kind of put the bigger stuff that's a little more solid in. But with the booth talks, it's a little bit more tucked in a way. So people who really are interested and want, you know, something to go to, they can go to it. But like it's a good place to kind of, you know, do some dry runs of things, or, you know, introduce stuff that's not totally ready for prime time or something.
Yeah, because a lot of it's catch as catch can. So you're going to catch an audience
Right.
as they walk past you. So that's good, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's all good to know. All right, we got a couple of names, and we'll work on a few more, and we'll look for some more volunteers too, so next couple of weeks. And yeah, next Thursday morning's call, I'll mention the thing about the K students too, to remind that group. Okay, let's look at our team page real quick. Whoop, that was a typo. I noticed I was talking about getting some, you know, posters printed up for discussion topics in the booth, and it looks like, Nathaniel, the posters would hang along the back wall. It looks like you've got some in the past.
That's what we did last year. We just I have these heavy binder clips, and then we just clipped them up and strung them up to the curtain along the back. So that was in the main Hamsci booth, and then the booth talk area is in a different building, so which you could see from the map. And so we did the same thing over there. You know, we taped up posters, or just used binder clips to put posters up decorating the booth talk area. So again, that booth talk area, you have those posters up there that are available for people who go to the booth talks to see, but they're, and some of the other things, but they're not really like high traffic areas. So if we want to think about, you know, what specific things we want to showcase in the Hamsci area, you know, that's something to think about. Another thing to do is, in the past, I'd have to work this out, but I could probably do it. I've brought some computer monitors and things like that. And at the ham site booth, we have like a rotating slideshow of, different topics that would go through. So you could have that on the table there and have that as talking points as well.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, we'll think about that.
Mhm.
Okay. On the team page, of course, they updated for the location, and we've had I think Rob did a sign up this morning, so we've got a couple more people there. Let's take a look at that real quick. Yep. Ed, Bill, Rob. So yeah, so this is for attendance in the actual ham side booth, not for the talks. But so this will help. This will be good. Okay. Level two, so the lab coat, nothing changed. The exhibitor badge, I just made myself the contact just to keep your email box from not getting too filled up.
I have my
Great.
spiffy lab coat, by the way.
Oh, you did get it, Ed?
I got it. It fits, which is good.
Good deal.
Wonderful.
I moved the booth talk to Friday at 2 p.m. so it's not the conflict, but now I gotta, yeah, that should be okay because that's during one of the Yoda booth talks, so we should be okay with that.
The booth talk or the photo.
The photo at 2 p.m.
Okay, great.
It was originally at noon. I know we had a conflict with that, so
Right.
that's about that. Okay. Any other questions?
I'm
we answered
looking
the
for,
date and-
where's the oh, I'm probably looking on the wrong. I'm looking on the wrong page. I need to look at the team page. Right, so that's the
Invention
dash.
2023-team.
Yeah. Right, there it is, volunteer sign up. Right. Yeah, okay. That's looking good.
We did just yesterday, these guys showed up in the UPS guy, our little cards to hand out. Randy KB3 IFH, I think his college printed them up. So these are on hand and ready to be carried down there. So
Those look great.
Cool.
yeah, those are nice.
They're nice and glossy.
Yes, yeah, the front side is, yes, they did a nice job. That's the way they should be. Okay, let me jump into the PR topics because I think this is a lot to cover there, and it's also fairly worthwhile stuff. So one of the things we've mentioned a couple of times we haven't taken any action on really is our Hamside Facebook page.
Mhm.
And I know Mackenzie's been a big proponent that the sooner we start posting updates there, the better off we'll be. Not
Definitely.
being a Facebook user myself, I'm not sure what's involved in doing that or accesses or how that should work.
Well, we have a Hamside Facebook page. I have not updated it in a long time because I have just gotten overwhelmed with so many other things like trying to answer emails and stuff like that. But I'd be happy to, if we wanted to have a Facebook page manager, I'd be happy to hand some of that over to that person.
Sounds
Like
like
a
a call
TBD.
for, yeah, sounds like a call for volunteers, but okay.
Call for volunteers, TBD, yep.
I have a pretty good sized background in Facebook, and I've managed several pages for large and small law enforcement agencies, and I've got a couple of private groups, and also belong to Facebook Global Facebook Global Administrators Group by Facebook. I don't know how I got selected for it, but they selected me to give advice to other people that are wanting to do Facebook.
I saw your hands go up there. Sounds like a volunteer.
Yeah.
Yeah, how would that work, Gary? Would we, if we had ideas of things we want posted, would you kind of email them off to you and then you take care of the posts on the Facebook page? Would that work?
Yeah, when you got a Facebook page, you just give them editor. Basically, all I used in the past is I've given people editor spots, and then they can post either as themselves or post as the page. And all you do is just keep it fresh with current updates related to ham site, related to the eclipses, what's going on. Basically, you just have it refreshed so people will know that when they come to it, they'll see it's refreshed, and they'll also get pushed to their if they like it, the page, it will get pushed to their Facebook feed almost all the time as an active site. That's the one thing you've got to keep fresh material in there. On holidays, you got to put up, something, Happy Easter or something like that, that kind of looks, I've got, if something goes up with Artemis or something like that, you've got NASA's safety mascot, Snoopy. There's a tons of stuff on that. There's a lot of things you can put up that keeps people interested and keeps them coming back, as well as actual news related to the organization. But I've got it back.
When you mention holidays and stuff like that, that makes me think about significant events on the ham radio calendar, like some of the major contests or World Amateur Radio Day and that sort of thing, I would think.
Right. And a lot of that can be pulled from ARRL, their ham calendar or contest calendar. You can pull a lot of information, major event coming up, QSO party for, I don't know, Georgia or something's coming up on this date. Also, I'm an amateur astronomer, and I love to go out and look at the stars. And so I've got an app that gives me basically alerts when, planets are aligning. Just Jupiter's good tonight. You can see it with binoculars. You can put things like that up. Also, through the NASA site, you can pull out some of the James Webb or the Hubble telescope photos, especially the Webb photos that are coming out that they put out. Some of the really pretty ones. This one came out this week. Take a look at 10 million years back. So, but there's a lot you can do to keep a Facebook page fresh.
Would it be a case of being more focused on amateur? I mean, the astronomy stuff is obviously interesting. I mean, I see it in the newspaper and other places all the time. The James Webb is pretty amazing tool, no question. Yep. Does it make sense to just be more amateur radio focused, so that because those are the kind of followers we want, or what?
Yeah, well, you definitely want amateur radio on there for sure, because you want them to get involved with the projects, and but at the same time, you've got people that are thinking about amateur radio but might have an interest in astronomy or something like that, and they can say, hey, wait, what do you mean I can do Earth to moon and back? That can be done. When I tell people about that, it just blows their mind. And,
yes, yeah, moon bounce is pretty amazing. You're right.
Yeah, I have my next door neighbor. She's administrator for here in Kentucky. I live in Berea, Kentucky, and she's administrator for the school district in Berea. And she's got her STEM program, and she was wanting me to see if I could set up as a ham, set up a communications with the ISS. And I said, we missed the deadline on that, but yes, we can shoot for it next time. And we can work on that. I said, I can get through my club, we can get the equipment. I have a lot of equipment, but we can get that. I told her I can do demonstrations and help out with that, with ham radios. I have a arrow that's modified. I chase satellites when the weather's good. And I've got a disability on where I can't really hold this, but if you guys can see, I modified the arrow antenna. So it's got a support like a pistol grip with a forearm support. Makes it so much easier to move it around, to put it on a tripod, take it off the tripod, work FM satellites, work sideband satellites. I told them I can do that. And then she asked me about, can you do a pico balloon? I said, sure. I said, we can put one together. I said, I don't know if now's a good time to throw one up, but yeah, we could do that. They're very, so that's, I'm working with her. And she came over here and she saw my shack, which is in the corner of our guest room. And so she was just, she had no idea. I've got my ham clock set up here, and I was showing her and telling her about the atmosphere, different levels, basically to skip the propagations. And it was blowing her mind. She has an interest in science. And then she asked me the question. She says, well, how do you get a ham license? I said, oh, I happen to be a volunteer examiner. Let me tell you this. And so now she's studying for her tech. So, and her husband, Rob, funny thing, I saw Rob just today. I saw Rob, today's good weather, nice weather, kind of windy, but I was outside. We were putting the garden together because it looks like it's going to be some good weather. And Rob waved, I waved at Rob, and I went over to the fence to see how he's doing. He says, what do you got Angie getting into? I said, what do you mean? He says, she's been looking at that magazine that you gave her. He says, ham radio outlet. And she's been going through that, looking at this and showing me all these different types of walkie-talkies. I said, oh, handhelds. And I said, well, I said, she's interested in ham radio. He says, I got to come over there and see what you got set up. So anyway, that was kind of funny.
It's definitely nice to be able to share the hobby with others and potentially get some other people licensed too. That's a fantastic thing. So what if we just set a goal of say 2 updates a week on Facebook? I don't know, Mackenzie, what do you think about that? Do you have any idea of frequency that would be important, or?
Yes, I'd say it is pretty important. And also I can be the secondary on Facebook for any extra help that is needed. But yes, I think 2 weeks is pretty good for that.
Yeah, definitely. I would say the first updates is anything coming out about hamvention. I would like to go this year, but I had surgery, met with the doctor yesterday, and she said that don't try to push your healing. You can't do it. She said, you're not going to be able to do it. I'm like, oh, wonderful. So
Okay,
otherwise,
well, I'll tell you.
yeah.
I tell you what, I appreciate the offer from both of you. Let's talk about some of the other PR activities and who might do what. And then we'll try to be able to divide up our labor sort of kind of equally, so nobody gets burdened with doing too much. But the Facebook thing sounds very promising. That we should definitely move on that. Yeah, 2 updates a week. Thanks for that. That's a good thing. Mackenzie, you've been starting to work a little bit on the Hamside Discord server. I haven't done too much. I've set up my old phone with a Discord, and I've got to get an account and all that, so I'm a little behind. But what can you tell us about the Discord?
So I made the Discord. I added a couple of channels. I added like the rules channel as well as announcements for when Hamside needs to post announcements to the entire server. And then I just added like regular channels where people can talk in. I wasn't exactly sure what was needed. Like, I know there should be certain rules for the server, but I didn't want to make those without you there. So on Discord, you should have a username, and I can add you on Discord and then invite you to the server. And then we can discuss in there what you would like to be added. And then after, I can transfer the ownership to you, or if you want me to take care of all of that, I can do that as well. Whatever helps you out the most.
Yeah, I guess I guess the way I'd like to phrase it is to share it, because I know you and I talked too. It's always good to have a backup if somebody's ill or goes on vacation.
Right.
You want to have a couple of people that can do that sort of stuff. So
Yes.
And
By
I
the
think
way,
that's
I
great.
just, I
I-
had forgotten to, but I had mentioned that Nicole has shown AC1 HQ might be able to help you with Discord. So I just sent an email.
Okay, thank you.
And I would also like to have like ownership of that as well, even if I don't like monitor all the time.
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay, so let me finish getting my Discord account set up. Mackenzie, I'll send you an email and we'll work through the invite process and you
Okay.
can show me how it works and we'll figure it out.
All right. Sounds great.
Good. Thank you for your efforts so far. That'll help a lot.
Of course.
The other suggestion you had a little while ago was to set up some sort of shared drive for some of the PR activities. And like, Ed's going to show us this. We're going to show you Ed's pitch letter and some other things that we should, probably a couple of us would want to have access to. So let me look into setting that up with my Google Drive and we can get that going. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. One thing I haven't thought a lot about, mainly because I've got questions, is I know Hamside's got a YouTube channel, and it's where our recordings are at, and stuff in the workshop and whatnot. There's not a lot of, I guess I'd say there's not a lot of short-term or short content that's kind of pushed out. I know Mackenzie, you had some ideas about things we could do, but I was wondering about what kind of effort it takes to create a 15 or 30-second or a 60-second clip to put up on the YouTube channel to gain followers. Do you have any insight into that?
Shorts on YouTube is kind of similar to TikTok. TikTok is basically just you press a button and you film it and you can stop recording whenever you need to. And it takes up 15 seconds and you just post it. I believe that's similar to shorts on YouTube. It's the same exact thing. If somebody wants to create a video that's about 15 seconds, they can upload it to the channel and it should be considered a short video, which will be under shorts. There's different categories for the videos you have on YouTube. So short videos, and then there's like regular videos at like 2 minutes or longer.
Okay. Yeah, I made that name up short, so I guess maybe I was closer to the reality than I thought. I guess the question is from the group here, looking at all the resources, the 800 or so Hamside members and stuff like that. I'm not sure who would take an interest in creating that stuff, or I just don't have any experience with it. That's all.
I've created a couple shorts on YouTube, but I haven't made any like edited YouTube videos. Maybe someone here is a little more familiar with actually making YouTube videos.
I have a suggestion. There are a lot of people that do this on a regular basis. Plus you've got TikTok and a bunch of other stuff. Just have them. Why don't we collect videos from other people that have already made them and feature one? I'm not suggesting we try to build a library, but feature one every once in a while would encourage more people to send some in. And there's a lot of people that are doing this on a regular basis, and the videos are interesting and some of them are quite good.
Can I make a comment or a question? So some of the feedback I've gotten is that Hamside has a very steep on-ramp. So like people come to the Hamside workshop and be like, everything's over my head. If we do some of this content, these shorter pieces, what would the content focus be? Would the content focus be right now just like getting people involved to participate in the solar eclipse QSO party? Would the content aim be to provide some of the on-ramp material? Would it be to give like latest science updates? What are we thinking for that?
I think it would be a good idea if the shorts were specifically for inviting people to join the QSO parties.
Mm-hmm.
The science updates would be good as well, but I think because shorts get more views than any other regular YouTube video, since people have such a short attention span now, I think it would be great just kind of, tell people what the QSO party is about and invite them to join, get them excited about it.
That sounds good. I think that makes a lot of sense for right now, especially as we're trying to get people excited about the QSO parties.
Between solar eclipse QSO parties.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, the interesting comment word. I know I'm a dinosaur. I'm in my 6th decade now, and I'm just in the past. As you know, when you publish things in the copyright world, the idea of copying them or reposting them and that sort of stuff was always a no-no without attribution and all that kind of stuff. So I guess I'm trying to wrap my head around this thing on YouTube where we've got content creators from who knows where, and then we're kind of displaying or linking to stuff from our Hamsci channel, or I guess I gotta figure out how that works myself.
Yeah, I guess it depends like who generated the content. I mean, obviously it depends who generated the content, but we do have quite a bit of content that we have either generated ourselves or can generate.
And it might be nice as well. I mean, if we've got somebody that passes as a videographer, at Hamvention, maybe if we could do like, get all our, get speakers who can speak to the party, et cetera. Do maybe a 2 or 3 minute clip, okay, that we can put up as sort of a post convention type of lookup, because obviously there'll be people looking at it too. So
and we work closely with Jason Johnston, so
that's right. Yep. There's your guy. Yep.
he's,
Mhm.
I mean, this is what he does for a living.
Yep.
So
Yep. Yep. Just sort of off the cuff, 2 or 3 minutes off stage, during the convention to have that stuff done. And you got enough content, to post later on.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, you're right. Jason does that for a living too, and I assume he would expect some sort of compensation though too, because he can't live on
Yeah.
air. I mean, you gotta.
Yeah, well, and it also solves the problem of editing and all that. So professional can do that for you pretty quickly. So.
Well, we could certainly talk to him. I mean, it depends. Obviously, we can't have him generate all of our content if we're not, paying for him.
Right.
But he is absolutely interested in supporting us. And so certainly for getting people interested in the Solar Eclipse QSO party, I think he would do that for us for free. I think one thing that may not happen is those I don't know that those posts would end up showing up on the Hamsci YouTube account. They'd show up on the Ham Radio 2.0 YouTube account.
Right.
That might be something to talk about with him. I don't know if there's a way to like cross post on 2 channels or like, but because if it shows up on his channel, then he gets whatever ad revenue comes from it. And so then we're basically helping him produce content and he's getting paid for it that way.
Yeah, we do, Nathaniel. We because we do videos on programming every month for the club here, and we cross post, and we've never run into an issue with it. So
yeah,
it's
so
actually a lot of speakers ask for it, so it works.
Yeah, I'm happy to have Jason, make videos and he puts it on his channel that gives us viewership and we just cross post with ours and then like I'm really good with that. And Jason, he does all the video editing for the Hamsci workshop and he does get some, small compensation for that. So, he's very supportive of us.
Okay, that's good to know. I would think we need some kind of a volunteer to kind of shepherd the YouTube piece along, because from all the stuff we've talked about, this sounds to me like the most effort. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it's going to take a little bit of time to get it off the ground and then to keep it fed and watered over time too. Otherwise, it'll get stale. And the effort will have been for maybe not for naught, but it won't be continuing. So
Yeah,
Hey, Gary, I also had a couple ideas for the shorts we could do. I can email you that later. But I was also gonna ask you about the Twitter account. I could manage that for Hamsite if you'd like that. Because I think we should also have a Twitter account. And it would kind of be the same thing with Facebook. I just post, twice a week. The more exciting, well, I guess both is exciting, but I don't know. You just send me content you want me to post, and I can add the hashtags and everything to get Hamsite out there with, more people. So I guess the same thing you said with the Facebook, I'll just do that.
Okay, how about if, yeah, I would like to see those ideas, Mackenzie, if you would send those, please. I guess what I'd like to do is to take, I know we don't have a lot of time between now and Hamvention, but we do have a lot of time between now and October. Would it be okay if we sat and thought about this a little bit, and maybe Nathaniel and I wanted to discuss it in the background a little bit too, because it's Hamsite. I guess you almost say it's reputation we're putting out there. So
Yeah,
we've got to make
I-
sure we've got a plan and we're doing it right. That's all.
yeah. I think for me that the biggest challenge I see with all of this is making sure all of the content, really is like reputable and scientifically correct, and that sort of thing. Because I know that can sometimes be a challenge to hold on to. So I think we probably do want to have the people who have access to this posting capability to, to be relatively well trained, and we don't want to just give it to everybody. But I certainly am very open to, would like to see this sort of activity happen, and would like to have some people who would like to take on that responsibility. Because I think I agree. I think it's really important. And again, it's one of those areas where I've run out of time.
Right, right. Well, like I said, the volunteers are needed, but all the volunteers have to be aware of the responsibility they're carrying too, obviously, so.
Yeah,
Okay, so let's not jump to any conclusions this week. I think we've had a good discussion here, and we've got a lot of potential activities in Facebook and Discord and Twitter and YouTube, and that's a lot. So I don't know if we should dip our toe in and pick two and move forward. I'm not sure, but I would like to think about that a little bit, that's all.
well, it might be easy to start with the Facebook, because I already have a Facebook page
It's already there. Yeah. Mhm.
there. So then we just have to, figure out who is going to, do a couple of posts a week or something like that. So that one's a pretty easy one to get ramped up.
Anything going on the Facebook page, if I was like an editor on the Facebook page to be able to post, I would want you guys to email me, say, this is what it needs to go up on the Facebook page. That way, like I said, it's uniformity. It's all been cleared basically, and then post it up and let it start running.
Yes. So basically I would give you, yeah, what do you think the best way is to go about doing this, Gary?
When?
Yeah, one, or Gary, AFAA.
It, I think, I guess get started. I mean, that's if you want to, like I said, you obviously don't have the time to be adding the content and stuff to it. Suggesting content obviously is certainly in your bailiwick. You're the best one at that here, probably.
Well, I mean, we can start with, yeah, go ahead.
Convention.
Yeah, certainly announcements like, certainly announcements relating to the Solar Eclipse QSO party, relating to Hamvention. You know, we have Veronica just, it's not really ham side, but Veronica's a ham side person who just got her article in QST. Every time we have someone actually, you know, publish something in either QST or CQ or a journal, that can go up. So there's a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah, if you could send me what's been cleared, and then I will post them up and get them up.
Okay. Why don't
Um,
I?
Also, a good thing to do is leading up to Hamvention on the day of Hamvention. Definitely, get some photos, send photos, and then get those posted up. This is what's going on. This is what our booth looks like. We're at this booth at this location. Here's a map. Come visit us.
Yeah.
Because
Why
a
don't I
lot of
start-
hands will check. A lot of hands will check their. They'll a lot of hands that will carry their phones. They'll get their updates and stuff like that, and they'll say, "Oh, here's a map. This is where they're located at."
How about if I start by making sure I'm friends on Facebook with both of the Garys and with Mackenzie, and then I can give you access to post under the Hamsci account, and we can just start with that. And then
Okay.
Gary AFAA has a good idea of like stuff that has been cleared, and he's been, reading. He's pretty up on like what our overall mission is and the procedures and things like that. So, AFAA can probably start doing a lot of the clearing and saying, yeah, this is good for publicity and kind of double checking. And then over time, as Mackenzie and Gary AV for GH get more accustomed to it, then we can just turn more of it over to you. Does that sound good?
Yep.
Yeah, that would work for me too.
Okay. All right. So I have to, I'm searching on Facebook for Gary Hogston, and there's quite a few of you. So to figure out which one you are. Or no, maybe I see two. I see one that says view profile and I see one that says Virginia Tech. Let's see.
This is me.
Okay, yes, I see the one that says sheriff. I cannot, there's no add friend there. I can message you. It says you're not friends. Hello. I just
I
sent you
will.
a message that says hello.
Huh, should be. It might be the privacy settings I have on it because that's
Yeah, I understand that.
yeah.
Yeah, retired Leo. Did you get my message? I can also search for Mackenzie Denton. There's a lot of Mackenzie Dentons too.
It should be the one without a profile picture because I just made the account very recently.
One without a profile picture. There's a lot of Mackenzie Dentons. Do you want to can you find me, Mackenzie? I think there's only one Nathaniel Frizzell.
One and only.
I'll look for you. Let me log into Facebook real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go through and unlock my Facebook settings tonight. I just responded to your message, Nathaniel.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm trying to I think also Gary, if I can't friend you, if you search for me, you might be able to friend me.
Okay.
And I will have to establish an account and then I can friend you, Nathaniel. I'll take care of that later this evening, I guess.
Okay, that sounds great. And then once I am friends with you, then I can try adding you to the Hamsci page.
I added you, Nathaniel.
I just
Thanks.
sent you.
All right, I am. So I'm waiting for a notification here.
Yeah.
Not seeing any notifications yet. Can you also follow the Hamsci page?
Yes, I'll look that up right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm following that already.
I just followed it. Did you see me yet?
I haven't. No. None of these, let's see. There's some notifications.
It's
Bob Inderbits. Oh, okay. Mackenzie Denton followed you. Okay. I see that one. And
And I'm sure-
then,
I'm already in there.
okay. So I have to figure out how to add you. All profiles. Okay. Nope. Not that. I had this up a second ago. Okay, let me flip over to this one. And then I can go to Facebook. Okay, I'm on the ham side page. And then I can go to manage. And I can go to I'm on the manage page. I just saw this a minute ago. Should be like page access. Add new. Next. Okay. Gary HOGSEN. There. And I have to reconfirm my Facebook password, which is
Okay, I just updated my profile to allow friend requests.
okay, great.
It should be there.
Okay, so you, Gary, now have an invitation.
Okay.
Okay. Add new, okay. Denton. And I'm not seeing you show up, Mackenzie. I'm MCKENZIE.
yes.
MCKENZIEDENTON.
Yes.
And you're following Hamsci?
Yes, I am. Did you not see me in your it said requested, so maybe maybe you have to like approve me to follow you.
Maybe. So you requested to follow Hamsci?
No, I
Or to
requested to
follow.
follow you, but it let me follow Hamsci.
Okay, let you follow Hamsci. See, I'm checking. You want to try requesting me again because I'm not seeing that notification.
Yeah, I'll try again.
Yeah. What? Um.
Okay, I tried again.
Okay. I'm back on my Hamside profile, so I won't see that for a minute. Let me go back to manage page access. Do you know what email address you used for Facebook?
Yes, I do. Do you want me to type it in the chat?
That would be great.
2023 at Gmail.
I see Ward Silver sent me a message in the chat as well. Silver. Oh yeah, so Ward, for the parking pass, I usually use the main parking pass to bring in the TV and do all like the unloading and all the stuff for the booth.
Yeah,
I could, once I'm done with that, I can give it to you and then I can use a different parking pass. Hey, Rachel.
okay. Yeah, last year there was a separate one. Are they selling those separately or did they restrict the number this year?
No, so I think what usually happens is there's two like classes of parking passes. There's like the really A1 gold standard parking pass that lets you park right behind the building.
Yeah.
And they give you like one of those per booth. So even last year I only got one of those. And then they give you, then they're a lot easier about getting these other parking passes that let you park right across the street. So I think last year I used the kind of gold standard parking pass for doing the unloading and loading and stuff like that. I think you got the other one that lets you park across the street.
Okay. Well, I mean, across the street would be fine.
Yeah, I'm happy to give you that. And if you want the other one too, like once I get unloaded and stuff, you know,
No,
and put in.
no, I mean, I'm not hauling stuff. I'm just going back and forth a lot.
Yeah.
So, you know, the regular parking pass is just handy.
Yeah, this is supposed to be in 5 minutes. Yeah. Yeah. So I will be more than happy to give you one of the ones that go for across the street. That's no problem at all.
Okay, let's do that. If I was wheeling in, you know, boxes and stuff like that, it'd be one thing, but
Yeah.
and I've done
Yeah.
that in the past, but I'm not doing that this year. So, okay, we can take care of this offline.
Excuse me, I have a delivery at the door I gotta get signed for. Be right back.
Okay, and I'll have to go in a minute too. I'm gonna try and get this on, and then I would like to hear an update from Steve Serwin. I know he sent me. Yeah, I don't know why, Mackenzie, you're not showing up here right now. So we may just have to try this again next week.
Okay, that's fine. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, it's not your fault, I think. I think it's Facebook is just confusing. Yeah. So wait, I've got okay. Mackenzie Denton followed. She followed me. All right, so wait, you are okay. I think you now followed Hamsai. Let me try this one more time. See page, manage. So I actually did see you come up for the very first time. Page access. Add new. Next. Search. Yeah, maybe I'll try it again like tomorrow or something. After and give Facebook a chance to like let its databases catch up or something. Because maybe it's just not going right now. But maybe tomorrow it'll work. Or later tonight or something. Okay. Gary, why don't I send it back over to you?
That's fine. That's good. You
It's
said
gonna be nice to
you
hear
want an
from
update
Steve.
from Steve while he's here?
Yeah, I wanted to give a message to Steve. Steve, I very much appreciate you sending me the text and the figures. And I will work on getting that into the overleaf. I also got input from Gwen Griffiths already, so that's gonna go in. So then I just need the one from Jonathan Rizzo, and then I'll have everything to basically put together a full article.
Cool. I also sent you a paper I just gave, or talk actually, at the San Antonio Radio Club last week. I got a buddy of mine from the radio club says, hey, you know, somebody's been hacking WWV. I said, huh? He's talking about those waveforms. Asked me if I knew anything about it. I said, well, you know, as a matter of fact, I do. So I gave him the whole history, starting from the NIST presentation that Phil Erickson and I did, and then the waveforms that the working group came up with, and ended that, of course, with a blatant request for volunteers for the TDOA experiment for the Eclipse, because I explained what all the TDOA stuff was about, and that those waveforms from WWV plus the other tests we ran showed it really worked. And I got some interest. We may be getting a few volunteers here.
That's really good, Steve. That's great.
That tells me I should be working a little bit on the, on getting the page up for the TDOA stuff on the ham site so people can look at stuff too, so. It's on my list of do's.
I can also give another couple quick updates about few publication things. We got our first round of reviews back on our Frontiers paper. And I thought so this is reviewer 1. I thought these reviews were very positive. So their evaluation it says, this paper is a good review paper on how the amateur community have been helping out and how further and deeper collaboration with the research community can be done. The paper shows many discoveries made by radio amateur community and also how the big collected databases available can be used by researchers. And then it says the paper is already quite long and extensive, but if possible, I'd like to have some discussion about, and they want us to include some things about HARP. So I'm definitely all for that. Yeah, and I'm friends with Chris Fallon, so I'd be happy to. In fact, Steve Serwin, you when you were at Cedar last summer, we had lunch, or we met with Chris for a little bit, I think, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah. So
And we
It
gave him
looks
some
like-
ideas on things to do.
yes. So they gave me so the reviewer gave me a couple extra things to include in the review paper, and these all look reasonable. I just have to figure out how to fit them in there. And then let's see, and then where amateur radio have been added to knowledge about these phenomena for long delayed echoes, it'd be interesting if the authors could give hints on how collaboration project between amateur radio and ionospheric communities could broaden understanding of this topic. We actually had a presentation at the Hamsci workshop last year, I think, on LDEs. It was either last year or the year before. Sfera Holm gave that presentation. You can look that up. I think we are allowed to transmit in the ELF and VF bands now. We have
There's one frequency in the VLF band.
yeah, so I think this comment's probably incorrect, so I probably have to point that out to the reviewer.
Yeah, actually, I think it's in down in the LF band. VLF, no. Except
Yeah.
there are people on the like kilohertz. It's
See what
not
I have.
amateur radio. It's part 15, I think.
Let me see what line they're talking about exactly, because I may not.
That is, it's not
Line.
licensed.
I may
Yeah.
be thinking about a different part in the manuscript than.
Oh, okay. Yeah, MF starts at 300 kilohertz. We can, we have the 138 kilohertz now,
Yeah,
which is LF.
right, which I think I have.
But it is, it's LF. It's not VLF.
LF, right.
Yeah. So we've got 630 and 220, 2200 meters.
Right.
We've got those
2,200
two.
would be the 138.
So I
That's
may just have to-
authorization, but you do need to let them know you're gonna do it. You have to write a letter, and interestingly, if you don't hear back from them, that's your authorization to proceed.
That's the Unix response.
Right.
So
That's funny. The power company gets upset.
That's a UDP response.
The UDP, yes. I was gonna tell a joke about UDP, but nobody got it.
Yeah, right.
Right. So anyway, all of these are like very, very friendly comments, I think. So this is good. So we have to wait for one more reviewer. And reviewer 2 is always notoriously the persnickety reviewer. So, but we'll see what happens with reviewer 2. So that's good news. Let's see. Less good news is we had a proposal in to do a project, a VLF project with Jonathan Rizzo and some collaborators, and that went into the NASA citizen science proposal system. And fortunately, that did not get funded. But you know, the comments we got back were reasonable. With some of these things, it's kind of luck of the draw with the reviewers. I think I'm talking to our collaborators. I'm suggesting that we resubmit that one for a CEDAR grant this year. So we'll see what we can do about that. And yeah, I'm still trying to rebudget the DAISY one for the personal space weather station to get that over the hump too. So I have made progress with that. I've gotten in touch with Scotty this week. I got in touch with the person who is a representative for the Cordis software that we need for programming the FPGAs. So they're working on getting us quotes. I'm meeting with Majid tomorrow, and we're going to talk about whether or not we have the equipment in the lab. We need to do the linearity tests that Tom McDermott was talking about. And if not, we're going to see what we can do about procuring that equipment. Let's see. So just kind of things like that. But I think I probably need to go pick up Anthony very soon. So is there anything else that we should go over for today, Gary?
Yeah, we can move it.
What's that, Ed?
No, the media pitch and that we can move to next week. It's no big deal. So
Okay.
not time sensitive.
All right. I guess we're good for the moment then. We got a lot done this week, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Apologize about jumping away, but all deliveries showed up at one time. That doesn't happen.
Oh, one before we go. Okay, we did have an item there regarding asking for money. We have a budget, Nathaniel? I think we do, right?
It depends what the budget's for.
Okay, I'm looking in terms of putting together a list of bloggers and podcasters, be able to get the word out and also get some people on board. Okay, to do the lookups for all the contact information is not the easiest thing. It's all one-on-ones. I found a guy who can actually sell us a list that originally wanted $150 for it, but is coming down to $100. And it's probably worth the money to save us some time simply because it cuts through a lot of time, to be able to say who's who and sort of, where do we want to do placements, that type of thing. So I don't know if you got $100. If not, I may be able to find it. So
no, I do have $100. I just have to make sure I can justify it correctly.
okay, all right.
So
if you want a blurb, I'll give you a blurb on it. So
yeah, why don't you email me a blurb and then
yeah, I mean, because the other pieces that we're looking at is Nick and I have been working on sort of an SWL list that we've pretty much got done, I think, right now in terms of people who we can help get the word out regarding what we need to do with the AM band. And I'm looking ahead in terms of looking at sort of mainstream media, for lack of a better word, along the path of totality. And I originally thought it was going to be a bit of a bear, just because there's so many markets. But actually, for this year, it's not that many markets, primarily on the TV side. So I mean, and that's really what the pitch letters worked around. So just to give you a sense of work in progress as to where we are on some of this stuff. So All right.
That sounds great. Yeah, so if you send me some sort of, explain what.
Yeah,
the,
I'll give you a justification. Just it's really a time saver, simply because, there's so many
Yeah.
people out there and obviously if you look at the number of podcasts, I mean,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
seem like they multiply like rabbits lately. So,
Yeah, I think we can justify that.
yeah, it just saves us time. That's all.
Great.
Okay, I guess we can wrap up. And as they say in the traffic nets, thanks to all who brought traffic, took traffic, or just stood by. So,
Thank you.
all right, everyone, a few of us got our work cut out for us, and the rest enjoy, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks, Gary.
73 all.
73, everyone. Bye.